Well, hello, hello, hello. I'm Louise Eddington with Cosmic Owl Astrology. And today I want to speak to you about a massive influx of Aquarius energy that's incoming that is really going to change everything. First of all, I'm going to look at what's coming up in the immediate future, and then I'm going to look a little bit ahead and also to kind of next Aquarius season. I'm going to bring in a few things, but the main bit is this new bit. So, but I hope you'll listen to the end because there's some really important degrees and periods that are to watch out for because our lives are about to completely change. So before I go in, I will say, please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. I love to read your comments. I love your thumbs up. I don't like the thumbs down so much. So whoever's doing that, you can just scroll on. I don't know why you bother if you don't like my videos. It's kind of funny. People are really weird. But anyway, no, it's fine. Shake it off, as Taylor Swift says. So I'm recording this on February the 3rd, and I am going to share the charts as I go, but I'm going to kind of point to some things as well, and we're going to annotate and do all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I want to really kind of use the big highlighter. So let me get that ready for you. So I'm recording this February the 8th. Pluto entered Aquarius on the 20th, January the 20th, with the sun entering right before. So that in itself was a massive influx of Aquarius energy. And I don't know about you, but I've been really feeling it. This kind of, it's a bit nervous. It's that kind of Aquarius kind of lifting above, starting to see the big picture, putting the pieces together. It's also that kind of more humanitarian vibe and vibe for the people. I do feel it rising in many ways. But of course, every sign has its shadow as well. So we'll look at more of that. But Aquarius is very much about kind of the people. Leo, the ruler, opposing Aquarius, the people, for the good of the common man, if you like. So Aquarius is a very powerful kind of energy. It's one of the collective signs, not the personal signs. As we go from the zodiac round from Aries to Pisces, the signs all get more impersonal. And Aquarius is very impersonal. It's very unconventional. It's more detached. It's more eccentric. It's more original. It's more autonomous and very unpredictable. But it can also be extremist. So all that to say, we've got a lot of this energy incoming, more than just the sun and Pluto. So bear with me. I just want to, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so where are we now? On February the 8th, I'm recording this February the 3rd, right? We can see that the sun has moved to 19 Aquarius and the moon enters Aquarius as we head towards the Aquarius new moon. That is on the 9th, the very next day. As you can see by this point, though, we've actually got Mercury already in there. So I'm actually going to take us back a day or so to the 5th. So on the 5th of February, Mercury moves into the sign of Aquarius. So that's over here, and they meet at 0 Aquarius. That's that hot degree that Pluto went into Aquarius in 2023 just for a little while, didn't go past the 0 degree, went back, but it's also a hot degree in so many ways. I'm just going to remind you of the slide I created for my 2024 preview. So you can see since March the 31st, 2020, there's been several conjunctions, several hot degrees at that point. and especially this great mutation on December the 21st, 2020. So, take a screenshot if you don't have the slide. It's been very available. I've shared it in a few places, but you can see that there's a lot of other things coming up. So, but I'm going into even more granular detail just to show you how powerful this is. So yeah, here we are. We're back again to February the 5th. So that's Monday. I'm recording this on Saturday. We get the moon Mercury leading the way into Aquarius with the sun still in Aquarius, and the sun conjunct Circe the sorceress at that point at 16 Aquarius. Now, the sun and the moon are our luminaries. They are the most personal parts of our cosmic makeup. All right, so the moon is our emotions, our emotional receptivity, how we feel, and the sun is our very core. It's kind of our ego, it's our consciousness, if you like, our very, shines that big light on everything. So at this point, the moon is heading into it, but Mercury is the next personal planet. So we have the sun, the moon, then Mercury. So here's Mercury entering, joining the sun at conjunct Pluto at that 0 degree. Then, as I mentioned, the moon moves in on the 8th. So that's the next personal planet. So at this point, we have the moon, we have Pluto, we have Mercury, we have Chariklo, who's very important. I'll be having to do a whole extra video for her. And that's going to be about 6 Aquarius. But and then we still have the sun and Circe. So we've got all of this energy right here in Aquarius still. Okay. And then it gets even bigger. So then on the 9th, we have the new moon. I'm not going to actually get the that correct because I've done a whole video on the new moon, but that's at 20 Aquarius. So on February the 9th, we have the new moon, and the moon will then start to move out of Aquarius, but it's kind of brought this in and met Pluto at that 0 degree. Then on February the 14th, we have Mars. Mars will move into Pluto. Now, those of you that know astrology will know that Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio and Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio. And we do have this Pluto Haumea square building that I've talked about a lot and shared a lot. I did a whole article on it. This aspect of the decade, I've called it. Now, I'm not going to go on about that one too much, but these two meeting here, this is kind of going to dig us deep into our passions, our desires, where we want to go with what we're moving into. This is very intense. And at that point, Mercury and Chariklo are at 14 degrees together, kind of weaving and creating this new story because Mercury is the mind. And Mars is another personal planet. So this is affecting us personally because all the personal planets are one after the other activating Pluto as we move into this period. Okay, so it's just kind of huge, to be quite honest. At that point as well, I will say that Venus is at the last Pluto station degree. I think Mars was there before as well. So there's all of that. And there's other things coming up at this point. Chiron and the North Node are about to conjunct. There's so many other things coming up. So anyway, but I just want you to focus on how much Aquarius. So I'm not going to get my highlighter because I want to show you the Venus conjunction. So Venus will conjunct Pluto on February the 17th. And Mars has only moved to 3 degrees at that point. The two of those are coming up to meet at 6 Aquarius, back to that slide, but I'm just going to focus on just having this Aquarius energy. Look at this. Bef 2 days before the sun leaves Aquarius, we have intense energy. Yes, the moon has moved out, but the moon has also squared this by then because from Taurus. But look at this, 0, 0, 3, Chariclo 14, Mercury 19, Circe the sorceress 21, and the sun 28. This is massive. All these personal planets, apart from the moon, really kind of bringing in this Aquarius energy, whether you call it the age of Aquarius or not. What this is going to do is it's going to blow our socks off. All right, so whatever is coming in with Pluto and Aquarius is going to come in rapidly. This is air, the ideas, the eccentric, innovative, kind of unconventional kind of energy. People are going to start thinking differently and speaking differently. This is just going to be so powerful and so off the charts. So between now, February the 3rd, and I'm going to say to the end of Aquarius season, let's get the sun into Pisces, because the sun's still going to be in Aquarius till February the 18th. The energy is just going to be intensely crazy. Then we have Venus and Mars meeting at 6 Aquarius, as I mentioned, and that's on February the 22nd. So we get that right in the middle of it as well. And incidentally, that's on the south node of the USA. So it's just crazy. So moving on a little bit. Okay, so we've got that energy. That brings it all in. But really the next big date to watch, I'm going to say is, well, we've got a huge month in April, but that's involving Uranus, the modern ruler of Aquarius. So that's a big month to watch anyway. Plus, we've got this massive eclipse in April. So that's a huge month to watch. But then I'm going to take you to more Aquarius energy. So August the 19th. Let me get to August. Okay, we have a full moon. So moon opposing sun. Okay, on August the 19th, it'll be August the 19th most places. This is Eastern time, 2:25 p.m. This full moon is worth taking note of as well, because it's an Aquarius full moon. And Pluto will have gone up to just 2 degrees Aquarius and have turned retrograde. Pluto's heading back to dip back into Capricorn on September the 1st, but he's back at that 0-degree mark again. Now look at this. We have the moon opposing the sun, which is always a full moon. We have Vesta, which is the sacred flame of devotion and the inner hearth, but also like the literal hearth. Okay. And then we have Mercury retrograde conjunct this full moon. But there's more. Let me get my highlighter. So we've got that. Okay. And that's the full moon at 27 degrees, which is an ending. But look at this. It's square to Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius. It's square to asteroid Lilith, which is opposing Uranus. This is a fixed grand cross. This is enormous energy. This is just like, this is, it's a fixed grand cross, so it could be a little bit challenging. It feels like things are going to be coming to a head and an ending on that full moon that we have started in all of this Aquarius energy. I'm just looking something up for you. Okay. Yes, I should have got this up before, but it's the weekend and I'm doing some work because I had some stuff. Anyway, I had some stuff come up. And I find it really hard to fit everything in the week. So anyway, yeah, ignore it. So the Grand Cross, the fixed Grand Cross is, fixed signs like to make things real, make things manifest. And it kind of feels like with this fixed Grand Cross, this is about getting things very well organized and making and firming things up. But it's also got Uranus there. And that could mean breaking with something, breaking the past, breaking away. And it can also be a little bit of a bit fixed and rigid mental attitude that does not want to change. But the fixed Grand Cross is saying change anyway. Break your fixed perceptions. Mercury is the mind and communication. Uranus is kind of the higher mind. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. This is a big fixed Grand Cross, August the 19th. So mark that date in your calendars too. All righty, so I'll get rid of those drawings. And just one quick look ahead. And I've talked about some of this before. All right, but let's go to December when Pluto has finally moved into Aquarius. Pluto will move into Aquarius on November the 19th after the little dip back from September the 1st into Capricorn. And then I want to get to December the 4th. Okay, December the 4th, Pluto is back in Aquarius and the moon again meets Pluto right after he's just moved back into Aquarius for the final time. Then on December the 7th, Venus has moved all the way around the chart because she's moving very fast this year. She's heading to a retrograde early next year, which I'll be doing my class on. But Venus will meet Pluto at 0 degrees on December the 7th, and Ceres will meet Pluto December the 8th. Demeter, Persephone, and Pluto coming together. I think there's some, I know I've mentioned this degree so many times, but honestly, this is a point of healing, I think, in many ways. And of course, all this is around the US election. And on December the 7th, as these three meet, Mars is on the north node of the USA, but Mars is in retrograde, and it's opposing the point where Venus and Mars are going to meet at 6 degrees Aquarius on February the 22nd. So that's another point to watch. A couple of other things I think we'll just look at. And the Sun conjuncts Pluto again on January the 21st, 2025. And that's at 1 degree. They've moved on now. Things are starting to shift. Now, January the 20th is the inauguration of the new president, whoever that's going to be. And that's the new beginning, 1. Now, I'm not going to predict who's winning. I just say, I think this is an important thing for the hopes and wishes for the future and for the change that's coming. And why I get hopeful for it as well is by then, Ceres, who met Pluto on December the 8th, 2024, if you remember, is conjunct Chariklo at 16 Aquarius, weaving this new story. I think things are getting better. Now, I have this fabulous psychic friend called Andrew Bassano Brewer. You can look him up on Facebook. He's been predicting everything right as well, just using his psychic abilities. He sees things getting better, and things, even if it doesn't always feel like it, things are getting better. But anyway, I think a lot of this is going to affect the USA, but of course that's going to ripple out. Okay. Last couple of dates. So the Sun meets Pluto as the inauguration is happening. It's really kind of going to let's just put it back one day. And really the inauguration chart is kind of like when the president's term starts. So the sun will be in Aquarius then. It's always is. It's the first day of the sun in Aquarius and coming to that conjunction. But then right after that, on January the 29th, Mercury conjuncts Pluto. So we've got the personal planets coming in again. And then we've got another new moon on the same day in Aquarius. So at that point, we have the moon, the sun, Ceres, who I happen to think is a personal planet, and Pluto, all in Aquarius, saying, let's bring in this new paradigm. I have such hope. Other things I quickly want to say about this new moon, clearly, you know, nearer the time I'll be doing big new moons, but it's going to be the new moon, the very same day. So I'm not going to just move the moon. Hecate and Vesta are here at 9 degrees, exactly squaring the moon. And Vesta is the hearth. Hecate is the triple moon goddess, the lady with the torch who guides our way. And this is actually it's actually very close to Mars, Biden's Mars in Scorpio, and Mars rules that Scorpio. Personally, I don't care. I'm not giving opinions, but personally, I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win big. Whether he finishes his term or not, I don't know. I haven't looked at that. But I think he's going to get a huge mandate for change, and I think he's a change person and will do. I don't want any comments about that. This is just what the astrology is telling me, and I think he's going to. But anyway, I love you. I look forward to your comments. What a time we have ahead, but particularly for now, just pay attention to this time from February the 3rd, where I am recording this, to February the 18th, when the sun leaves Aquarius. It's going to blow our socks off. Love you.